and things like it is the equivalent of the red pill.
This is a technology, it's a computing language, and I can build an app on it.
Is Bitcoin the currency of the future?
Crypto gang, it's the game, big gang, all gang, light gang, cash game, blockchain. Whoa, I don't really ever buy stocks, man. No. Haters wanna say I'm in a bubble, man. No. Chew them up like bubble gum. No. Just made a meal with my pocket change. No. Wreck about to go and join the hodl gang. Hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang. Crypto gang, it's the game, big gang, all gang, light gang, cash game, blockchain. Whoa, I don't really ever buy stocks, man. No. Haters wanna say I'm in a bubble, man. No. Chew them up like bubble gum. No. Just made a meal with my pocket change. No. Wreck about to go and join the hodl gang. Hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang. Ethereum pays for my rent. Bitcoin pays for the vent. Litecoin pays for the jet. Bitcoin cash for the rest. Spent 30 racks on an ICO. What coin did you buy? I forgot, yo. Just got started last night, bro. And I'm already hooked like a pipe stove. Flipping the coin, making it grow, taking it slow, letting it go. Cash flow's growing, it's incredible to watch it flow. Stacking the cash, taking it home, making it fast. I'm on a roll, little bit mo's all I ask for the bubble though. Currently, learning about a new type of currency. Burning the dollar down like an emergency. Urgently, listen, my friends have been urging me. Coins have been surging, we're earning like surgency. We on a mission, man. Crypto maniac. Act like you don't really know about it. Stop that. Bitcoin blowing up like a bomb. Step back. Used to be a couple $100. Should've copped that. Blew up on a scene from the mind of a brainiac. Back in 2009, where the miners at? Silk Road, baby. It's gotta be anonymous. Satoshi blew up. Now we on the map.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Reckless Ray Dinero, and we are back at it again for another episode of Crypto Portfolio Updates. Hope you've made it. Hope you made it through Bag Fortification Friday. Hope you guys got some money in the market. We are currently living the doom and gloom scenario for a lot of people new to the crypto space. We are actually having a dip, like a real one, like for real. Like people are packing it up and hightailing it out of the market, trying to front run institutions that are not selling, giving up great positioning to go buy things, to go buy stuff, to probably go buy Gucci belts, because people just aren't good with money. A lot of people, we got back to the previous all-time high. A lot of people who were holding on to coins from the last bull run that bought at the peak, like they're going to do this time around, thinking they're doing something, are getting out of the market because they believe that this space is fraudulent, a scam, not worth it. You also have people who are trying to play the markets as though this bull run is going to run exactly like last bull run. Last bull run, we did not have open and rampant institutional buying of 10x the supply being created, going into the halving, in which the supply being created gets cut in half, which drives that immediately up to 15 to 20x the supply being created. The scenario that we are in now hasn't happened before. And I hate to sound cliche, but things are different this time. But I understand. You can't argue other people's theses. And, you know, I'm not going to fault anyone for following their thesis that they have lined out. If that was what your plan was to get to 72, between 60, 69 and 72, around 70,000, and you decided that the juice is over, you believe the mainstream news, even though institutions are not stopping buying, telling you that, oh, it's going to be different and the gains aren't going to be the same when the gains are already the same just earlier. I'm not going to fault you for that. But we're going to get into it because we're going to tell you what we did this weekend. But first and foremost, we got to go through the fun time information. So let's talk. Let's have a talk about it. Let's see what's going on. These numbers are terrible for altcoins. Bitcoin dominance sits at 51.6%. It means that there's little to no juice for the altcoins. Shout outs. Ugh. ETH dominance of 15.2%. Gas fees at 12 Gwei, which means that Ethereum is now usable, people. Get some transactions in there for under It's sub right at about $10. I did some moving around earlier today since the prices had dropped. We did some dippity dip buying, stacked up a couple of DCAs in preparation for this. And, you know, these high Ethereum fees do one thing, if nothing else. It keeps me from buying except for in the dips, because when everyone runs out of the market, the fees on Ethereum go down. So it's easy to transact and move money around, which is super convenient for getting money into the market because we got to go through Ethereum. But before we jump into the top 3 trending coins, let's give a shout out to the sponsor of the platform, sponsor of me, sponsor of the show, Delta Investment Tracker app. If you're not using it, you should be. You should at least give it a try. It's really great for tracking. I just haven't had time. Been a little bit busy. Been keeping the schedule normal, but we're a little bit busy, so I haven't had time to set up the desktop version yet, so that way we can run through it over there. But we're getting there. We're almost to the point. Like now that I'm done with one of my classes, we're starting another class. It's going to be on Fridays, and yeah, we're gonna be good with it. We're gonna be good with it. We're gonna get some things caught up. I've got it on my to-do list. Now, secondly, if you are not a part of the tribe over at Circa 84, I definitely believe that you should be jumping in over there if you're ready to go to the next level. We are talking about some pretty high-level stuff. We're getting into the weeds. We've got some special paywall content that will be landing over there first until I get something for myself set up. That's kind of going to be my testing ground. We're going to have some video tutorials, some how-tos, some in-depth. I might actually start doing some in-depth Q&A. Once this channel gets monetized, we'll have some of that content in the members-only section. And if I decide to set up a Patreon, I've been asking on a few of these videos what the thoughts are on that to get some, because like I don't have anything to sell people. Like obviously people are like, oh, you should be selling that information, the alpha that you're giving, you should be charging for it. I don't necessarily believe in that, because if you're making money in the markets, I don't believe you have to sell that. I do believe in paying people for their time. Now, if you want my personal time, different conversation, you can shoot me an email and we can schedule a one-on-one. But I don't like selling stuff. So I think what I'm looking at as far as the monetization for this platform and channel is going to be, once the channel is monetized, we'll have a members only section. I'm also considering doing a Patreon group where you guys can tap in monthly and recording these episodes live. So that way you guys can tap in with me whenever we do the episodes and I can schedule those out. And you guys can tap in and we can have a segment where we can do some questions. You can actually be sitting here with me as I'm recording it, getting the alpha as it happens. And then once we get to that point, I believe that it'll be a paywall only. And then everyone else will get it Wednesday. Members, Patreon members, whatever paywall I set up. For me personally, obviously the family over at Circa 84 will be invited to sit on those live. The videos will not drop for anyone outside of there until the Wednesday. So you'll get at time alpha. And then after that, general population doesn't get it till 72 hours later. I think that's probably what it's going to be. And then we'll add in a section to where people can do a Q&A. And we'll have a Q&A section, so that way we'll keep some questions live. We'll do some questions live and maybe do some come up live questions. Like if you want to drop them in the chat, cool. But also if you want to come up and ask the questions, cool. Like I think that would be an additional value that I could put on into a Patreon, like a paywall level type deal, which would also include the tutorials and walkthroughs that I want to do, because I do have a line out of content around that I think would be relevant, specific to how I navigate the markets. But that is content that's kind of industry insider type stuff. And yeah, like that should be paywalled information. And that will be landing over in Circa 84 first, depending on the feedback that I get about a Patreon, until we get the channel monetized, which if If you guys know people that would benefit from this information and you're liking the information, definitely have them subscribe, because we are trying to get to that 500 mark, so that way we can start on that monetization process. And yeah, we're just trying to make some moves, trying to do something with this channel. Not necessarily trying to live here, but I think that those are value adds that would be beneficial to the people who actually rock out with me, that are consistently here, being able to have those conversations. And normally when we have our steady, dedicated crypto bro discussions, they're always good. Like, people get so much value out of those. So I think doing that and having a members only type deal where we do have a live for the members, and then I can take that and upload that as an episode later, obviously 72 hours later, so that way you guys get all the alpha you can extract all the juice out of it. The general population still gets some alpha, because I'm not promoting specific coins or specific plays, but we do have some conversation that have some, like, every episode has nuggets in there that are of value to people. So we're working on that. But definitely the more feedback I get, the more people that reach out that are telling me that I'm giving too much away for free, it definitely leads credence, or I'm like, maybe I can do a little something to get a little something moving for the channel, so that we can upgrade faster. And, at some point I'd like a better studio space. I do enjoy doing this enough to where I would like to have a little studio space, maybe a space where we could do some interviews, because I know some interesting people, and I think interviews and conversations would be a fun type of experience as well, to be able to add some value. And I think that would be fun. I think it would be interesting. So yeah, moving along, we're going to jump back in. Top 3 trending coins. First off, we have Gala, GameFi. I know that one. Non-playable coin. Don't know that one. And Node AI, which I'm assuming is some sort of AI play, or a coin that's named after AI, which is fitting into a narrative. Interesting. Let's get over to the next part. Everybody loves these breakdowns. Let's do it. Now, we are currently in the midst of a bounce back. And this is wild, because the losers actually it doesn't look as bad as what it is. But once we get to the portfolio, you're going to see what's happened over this weekend. Now, at number 1 on the top gainers list, we have at rank 198, Cat in a Dog's World, MEW, with a gain of 95.2%. At number 2, we have at rank 929, Fulcrum, FUL, at number, with a gain of 72.4% in the last 24 hours. At number 3, at rank 325, we have Insure DeFi, SURE, with a gain of 59.6% in the last 24 hours. At number 4, we have at rank 303, Slurf, SLERF, with a gain of 54.6% in the last 24 hours. And last but not least, at number 5, we have at rank 375, TrueFi TRU, with a gain of 38.4% in the last 24 hours. Now over to the biggest losers list. This is looking like a sideways retracement, even though we are in the pits of crypto hell. At number 1, we have at rank 844, we have SafeMoon SFM with a loss of 19.4% in the last 24 hours. At number 2, we have at rank 438 Math, MATH, with a loss of 17.5%. At number 3, at rank 692, we have Zbit Ordinals, ZBIT, with a loss of 16.3% in the last 24 hours. At number 4, we have at rank 817, we have Solend, SLND, with a loss of 12.2% in the last 24 hours. And at number 5, last but not least, at rank number 370, we have L7 Dex, LSD, with a loss of 12.9% in the last 24 hours. Now, moving over, for those of you who are watching, get a little bit of pre-alpha here. For those of you who are not watching, obviously the portfolio has jumped off a cliff. We actually went full into the red for a number of hours. And I'll tell you what, as somebody who is manically checking prices throughout the day, I wouldn't say manically, it's what I do. It's part of my opening my phone. Like, I open my phone to do anything, I always check my crypto portfolio prices. I noticed that we were dropping, and then I noticed we jumped off a cliff. And then at a certain point, I had to stop opening my phone because I looked in there and we were in the negative. The portfolio went negative. And this goes to testify to the fact that no matter what you do, at a certain point, you're going to look at your portfolio, especially if you are degenerate gambling. I mean, my portfolio is very tame in comparison to other years. You're going to look in there and be at a loss. And for me personally, what I do is I kind of try to get a feel for what's going on, what's happening, where we're at in the cycle. And then I just stop looking. Like, I just stopped looking. I was like, we got down. I checked, it was like negative 2.33%. And I went, okay, well, I'm going to have to figure out when I'm going to decide to buy. Because I'm not the type of person who tries to time the exact bottom. I try to catch the bounce, because normally, like, I want to catch the retracement when it's moving back up. I'm not trying to buy the dip, and then the dip turns into the dippy dip, and then the dippy dip turns into the dippiest dip, and like, you're out of money, and then it crashes even further and then starts coming back up. Difference being, I won't sell, but it's a harrowing process of looking in there. And because, we were previously up 37%, now the entire market's down. Obviously, the information that we got from the Fed was not good. So macroeconomically, for the United States specifically, not good. Couple that with halving sell off, and you just get what we get. Like, that's where we're at now. At the time of recording, Bitcoin is back up to 65K, which is great. Great. That's a good stability number. The bounce was pretty direct, pretty hard. And there's just not really much more to say about it besides, like, I had to look away. I did my buy. I decided to do my buys this morning versus last night. I was mulling it around, but I was like, I don't know if this is gonna continue going this way. So I wanted to see some price action in the other direction, as opposed to the cliff that we were actively rolling down. I wanted to see if somehow the crypto market had grabbed a hold of something. And it seems like it did. It seems like some buy orders went in, some really strong buy orders went in, and we found ourselves a semblance of a bottom. Did I get the exact bottom? Not so sure. I do know that a few hours after I got my purchase orders in, I started noticing across the board that stuff was on the rise, which was good. Stuff started kind of bouncing back. And yeah, like all the positions that I added in started kind of moving a little bit. So as the pie chart shows here, Lido staked Ether is a large portion. USDC is also a large portion. Also, the largest altcoin holding, or the largest holding that we have that's not in a wallet or cash, is Solana still, and that is bouncing back up as well. Now, remember, we're taking off stables and the Lido staked Ether. That position we're not counting, because that's not an alpha position. This goes in the retirement ledger. I don't sell it. I don't do anything with it. I am fine that it is currently sitting down at 20%. It's down 20%. Yeah, like, it's just kind of what it is. We've got some other positions that we've got with some stuff staked that we're building up to get our next staked Ether position, but we won't know about that until our sell-offs. So, like, once we get to our reallocation this weekend coming up, depending on where we're at and what we've got, because it's definitely looking like it's going to be smaller than the previous one, which my projection for this month, I totally forgot about the Bitcoin halving sell off. I kind of don't pay attention to those things because I don't ever sell off. So that was a little bit caught me by surprise because like I would have been like, oh, my cash out's gonna not be what the income generated is not gonna be what it was. So like I'm shooting it lower. I think we're gonna be somewhere in between 600 and 750 for the month, most likely. It depends. I mean, if there's an influx, because let's see here. We've got the halving this upcoming Friday is the halving. So, which is cool because I'll be off. I might do a halving stream. We'll see. We've got the halving. And then after that, we've got a few weeks, but the halving is rolling right into this weekend. So we'll see what the market does. Like this could be abysmal. And then after that, that's going to be our last cash out for the month. Then we've got one more payday, which is going to be a dollar cost average with prices the way that they are. We're back on schedule to just be buying into positions, which means we're probably going to be buying some more Bitcoin for the house savings because now we are a few $100s under metric because of our Bitcoin position. And yeah, we'll be doing that. We'll be looking at, because like now my portfolio is actually tied to the fluctuations of the Bitcoin market until the end of this month. And then we'll have to see what kind of money was made with our wide BTC position. And we're going to have more money flooding back into that because we're going to be actively building out those portfolio. The active portfolio is getting done in. We're going to do what we can with that. We're going to see what we can do. I'm excited about it. I am still very optimistic on that play. I've got a plan. I've got some options. We're going to keep it moving. Okay, so let's go through our top 10 holdings and then we'll get into what we did, and then we'll get into the news. And I got something special for this news cycle. It's going to be interesting. Adding value always. So, top 10 holdings. We have at number 1, we have Solana, SOL. At number 2, we have Ethereum, ETH. At number 3, we have Injective, INJ. At number 4, we have Synthetics Network, SNX. At number 5, we have Camelot Token, GRAIL. At number 6, we have Arbitrum, ARB. At number 7, we have Synapse, SYN. At number 8, we have Thor Wallet Dex, TGT. At number 9, we have Wrapped Bitcoin, WBTC. And at number 10, eking out the number 10 position in front of Osmosis, we have Superverse, SUPER. Now, for those of you who follow me on social media, if you're not tapped in with me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, X formerly known as Twitter, you should be, because I did put, as soon as we were in the midst of the dippy dip, I did throw out some really good options that were sub $1. And just some coins that are in my portfolio that I'm like, hey, like these are sub $1 right now. Like these are good buys. A couple of them eke their way into my buys for today. So let's talk about what we did. What moves did Reckless Ray Dinero make and why? So I can tell you straight up, I did a little bit of shopping. We deployed a little bit of cash reserves. And what we've done is we added to our positions in Injective. We added to our positions in Osmosis. We added to our position in Celestia. We also added to our position in Akash, which coincidentally, it was actually kind of interesting because I was looking and I was like, okay, so like, what are the best opportunities right now during this dip? What's performing the worst that I haven't hit my targets on or I can add to comfortably and be okay with? And those were the 4 that came up, and they were all in the same ecosystem, the Tendermint Cosmos ecosystem. Why though? So Celestia, I've been trying to get a dollar cost average going on this, and the price just kept going up. I got in on a pump. Started the position. I was like, I'm dollar cost averaging anyways, but we had some pretty big buys in on that pump. And then has not been performing necessarily as well as I thought it was going to be, but also we're not into the halving, and also there's not a lot of energy in the altcoins right now. So that definitely hit because we dropped into the 30% drop range, which is okay. And then it was the same for Osmosis. These were the ones that dropped the most. Osmosis was another one. I'm actively using that chain. They have a farm that I'm actively getting ready to add more into on that chain. I'm going to have another couple of positions on there because I've realized that I can sideways invest in some of the other tokens that I'm looking to get positions in. So we're going to be doing some work over on Osmosis. We found some more opportunity. So I was like, hey, this is down. I want to get this position up. It's not at the metric that I wanted at quite yet. And then we also looked at Akash, which is an AI play that we just started in on, which is cool. We're currently down 6.8%. We got down to about 15% during the dip when I made my purchase. And, you know, we're still adding to that position. We're just doing on-chain staking super easy. But with the volatility, I was like, well, we definitely got to put a little bit on there. And then lastly, we have Injective Protocol, which has historically been very high. This was the lowest I'd seen it drop. I've never dropped it past negative 10%. We're currently sitting down at negative 26%, which is 10% up. It was at 37, 38%. It was flirting on that level, which just made sense because I was trying to get 100 of these tokens and 100 of the Celestia tokens. And I was like, okay, but I didn't just want to dump everything into one play. I'm kind of trying to get better. I also didn't want to completely liquidate my cash reserves just in case there's more dip to be had. So what we did was we stacked our dollar cost average in with a cash infusion to buy the dip. So now we merged those two together and split it up amongst those four plays. And, you know, we held a little bit in reserve just in case it continued to tank further to institute another buy. And then we could institute another buy. Because, you know, if you're gonna buy down, you don't want to just look at the numbers and then just blow the load immediately. I try not to do that. I try to filter it in so that way if there's continued dip, I still have a little bit more money and I got some more ammunition in the gun to keep firing until we get to a certain point. And the way that I was looking at this was when I looked at it and we were down about 30%, 30+%, I go, okay, well, the next drop for me is another 10%. So it would have had to have been whatever I looked at it at. 10% on top of that, we're buying in again. That's when the next cash infusion goes. Now, then you hold a little bit in the reserve after that. Like you have a set amount, whatever that is. Arbitrarily, it could be a few $100, $250, $500, $1,000, however much you have in your cash reserves. You got to do the math on that and do what suits you best. I just don't normally throw all the cash reserves in there because now I have that chunk of cash reserves to pay back. So like as these go up, now I'm going, okay, well now when we're getting our cash out, we also are putting a little bit more into the cash reserves this next time around until we pay that money back. So just something to think about, something to mull over. Now we're going to jump over into the news. Now I'm actually going to switch this around. I want to go over some stuff that's going on in the market. You know, when stuff like this happens, when you get these super dips, you got to look at what's going on in the recent developments. So I'm just going to talk to you here a little bit. We're going to just have a little conversation candidly amongst ourselves about what's going on in the market right now and what's trending. And I'm going to give you guys a summary of the trending news in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space. So first off, we're going to touch on the crypto market volatility and liquidations. Obviously, going into the craziest dip that we've seen so far, scare your pants off, scared a lot of people out of the market because a bunch of people, I'm sure, jumped into the this is over bandwagon and sold their positions and gave up those positions senselessly. And then we're going to see next. I mean, this could carry on through the halving, which would give us a week of sideways downward momentum, kind of sideways. We'll see, because we're not factoring in what happens open of market Monday. The ETFs could still be buying. Now, if they're buying and you're selling, then they're going to buy those positions back up. Technically speaking, we could have seen some of these positions getting bought back up already today, Sunday, April 14th. 5 days until the halving. Then we don't have to talk about it anymore. But the cryptocurrency market has experienced a period of high volatility with over 200 million in leveraged crypto positions being liquidated in just 1 hour, people. That's all it took. 1 hour, 200 million in wealth gone. This is the reason I cannot, in my heart of hearts, believe the hype that people who are not in here for long term and traders are just coming in, getting their money and getting out and winning. They're not, because they're getting wiped out both directions. Because after we hit that bottom, I'm sure they took out the shorts. The shorts got taken out. This surge in liquidation, which totaled 885 million in the last 24 hours. Think about that. Almost $1 billion wiped out in 24 hours. Was attributed to sharp losses across Bitcoin and altcoins, exacerbated by the geopolitical tensions and macroeconomic factors. The market downturn was particularly influenced by the news of a potential Iran attack on northern Israel, which heightened regional tensions and impacted global markets, because this isn't just the US. We're going to talk about, they also talked about what's trending right now. We're going through the trending bullet points, because I just want you guys to have the full scope of what's going on. Bitcoin halving and market price predictions. Despite the market's current instability, there is anticipation around the upcoming Bitcoin halving event, which is scheduled for Friday, April 19th at this point. We thought it was the 20th. It looks like with the current hash rate in the system, they're looking more at the 19th. Obviously, depending on how many computers are turned on and off, that could change a little bit, but we're looking at the 19th as the Bitcoin halving event. That's when it's going to take place. Some analysts and crypto enthusiasts believe that this event could lead to a rally in Bitcoin prices. Of course, because we're kind of having the sell-off right now. There might be some more sell-off throughout the week, but historically speaking, after the sell-off is when the actual bull market starts. And our bull market had started early. That's the thing that people aren't understanding, is we were early to the game this year. A lot more money flooded in and just forced prices up, which is why things are going out of order. That's the reason we haven't necessarily seen the ridiculousness that is the alt season quite yet, because we are currently running out of cycle pace. We're just doing stuff early, but it's all focused in on Bitcoin because the Bitcoin ETF was approved, which put a lot more money and a lot more energy in Bitcoin than what we've seen in every bull run prior to this one. Venture capitalist Tim Draper, for example, has predicted that Bitcoin could triple in value in 2024, attributing its potential growth to inflows into the spot exchange traded funds, ETFs, and the halving itself, which the supply is being reduced. A lot of people buying, supply getting cut in half. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the free market. Like, that's how markets work. It's supply and demand. There's a high demand. Supply is getting cut in half. Price has to go up. Regulatory and institutional developments. On the regulatory and institutional development front, there have been notable developments such as BlackRock's tokenized investment fund, allowing investors to redeem shares for Circle's USDC. Ooh, this move is seen as a step towards integrating traditional finance with digital assets. Now, this is actually really interesting, because you almost are to the point to where they might be able to set it up so that you can redeem your Bitcoin ETF for actual Bitcoin, which would be amazing. If you can redeem in kind, that's going to be a game changer. And then market recovery predictions. Let's talk about that, because that's obviously going to be a talking point going into this week. Despite the recent market downturn, some industry leaders remain optimistic about Bitcoin's future. Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novogratz has expressed confidence that Bitcoin will resume its upward trend after the current market correction. This sentiment is echoed by other crypto advocates who viewed the recent price drop as temporary setbacks in the context of Bitcoin's long-term potential. That is correct. If you are looking in a small window, obviously you're probably going to have Richard Frame telling you to run for the hills and Bitcoin's over and he told you so because the price went down. The price went down on the stock market too. Just by the by. Stock prices went down also because the Fed didn't say what we wanted. Because we ain't get the numbers we needed. So there's also that. But if you look at it in a small window and you don't look at the entirety of the project, where we're currently at versus where we were last year, because we're still sitting at last year's all-time high, basically. The last bull run, it's all-time high. We're still up over 100% for the year for Bitcoin specifically. I'm just saying, it depends on your narrative and your thesis. And there are people who are going to win in this market, just like in the stock market. And there's people who are going to get in, get scared, and lose because they can't take looking at red numbers. It is what it is. This is competition. Altcoin performance. The altcoin market has been significantly affected, with the major cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, Solana, and Ripple experiencing noticeable losses. You're darn right, because whatever happens to Bitcoin is echoed into the altcoin market orders of magnitude, and that's up or down. If Bitcoin goes down, the altcoins go down worse. It's like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then everything else just gets punched. Like it's terrible. Like Ethereum gets backhanded. All the other ones are taking body shots. Now, to our sponsored part of the news, and then we're going to get you guys up out of here since it's just me in here talking into the ether. But this seems, I like the way that this has been going. I like the flow of this. We're going to do the weekly crypto roundup for April 1st through the 7th, brought to you by Delta Investment Tracker app, powered by eToro, owner of Delta Investment Tracker app. We definitely got a lot of love for them over here. And they do a good synopsis for their week in crypto. So let's talk about what they've got for the major developments the 1st through the 7th. Bitcoin halving is in 10 days. Obviously, we are down to 5 days now, set for April 19th at it looks like midnight UTC time. Not sure what that is, but I'm going to have to take that piece of information and figure out what it is for my time, so that way I can be ready and see if I want to stream that. Bitcoin, which obviously once we get through that, all the sell-off news, all the speculative traders that are in the market trying to make plays, all that ends, and then we can get to the actual bull run. I'm just ready for it to be over at this point. Like, let's get it out the way. Bitcoin ETF products saw net inflows of 484.5 million last week. Amazing. That is, yeah, let's go. Obviously, a lot of energy going into Bitcoin. Phantom announces its canonical stablecoin USDC.E, another stablecoin. Do we need them? Not so much. I don't think so. But, the more the merrier. It's energy into the space. Hopefully, Phantom can get their DeFi ecosystem producing something. It's abysmal over there. It's it's a good chain. It's just there's not a lot of energy and activity going on. It's kind of weird. Vote on fees to AVA stakers could happen as early as this week, hence founder. That's something to keep an eye on. Also, that's going to be a project to keep an eye on as well. Goldman Sachs, Citadel, Citigroup, and UBS authorized participants to BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF. Interesting, after the video that we did on Citigroup, our scathing review of how they said that their stance was they were never going to allow access to Bitcoin related or products that touched cryptocurrencies, even if they were approved by the SEC. Also interesting that Citigroup specifically, their CEO is resigning because it was a bonehead move, because all of us who you blocked moved all of our money from your brokerage. Hope you're happy. Like I said, we could revisit this once this was retraced, because in the long term, well, actually in my personal long-term holdings, since I hold Bitcoin, I won't be doing that, but I've got some accounts that I want to set up for family members that will have that Bitcoin ETF in it. And you getting in the way of that is not cool, not a good move, not capitalism. But it seems like they bent the knee, as they all will, because you know where the energy is going. You know what's going to be saving portfolios. You know where people are going to be getting the massive gains moving forward. You know the narrative is changing. And you chose to be like Vanguard, a dinosaur, and behind and on the wrong side of the trade by blocking people. So good. That's good that they have changed their minds. That's great. The FTX bankruptcy estate plans to start repaying creditors by the end of 2024. Good. Give those people their money back and be gone forever, never to be spoken of again. Athena Labs incorporates Bitcoin as backing for its USDE. Now, these stable coins are going to be interesting. It's going to, as we start getting stable coins with different backing mixes, and they start incorporating Bitcoin, which is a store of, not only a store of value, a growth of wealth. It's a wealth accelerator, in my opinion. It's a savings accelerator, in my opinion. As we start seeing these new coins and how they're set up, like USDC and USDT are the big daddies. I mean, you could throw DAI in there as a third, but I don't know that everybody needs a stable coin. It's about utilization, and like, obviously the more you have, like, you're just diluting the waters, but the majority of people use the ones that have been around for forever, which is USDT and USDC. Those are just the ones. Like, I don't understand why we have to make like 18 million stable coins. Like, we don't have a problem with the ones we have. Like, the ones we have work fine. So, and that's always an interesting angle to be taken, is all the additional stable coin news. And it's like, why though? Like, we have the two that we need. Is that going on a chain where there isn't a stable coin? Because if USDT and USDC are there, those are going to be the primary ones. The only draw for these types of projects and these additional stable coins is you can get better APR or APY as an LP staker. You get better returns, and you can still do a stable coin staking, which kind of is supposed to hold. But then you're also running the risk that it doesn't, because it's new and no one's using it. That's always the way that I've seen it. Like, unless it's something that has to be used, or I start seeing it on every exchange in the top of the exchange list where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of liquidity for this, I kind of just shy away from them personally. Like, it's a weird fad, and I understand, because if you make a stable coin and people do use a little bit, you collect fees. Like, great. But it's just like everyone's doing the same thing. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. But that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I'm going to go ahead and jump on off of here. I hope you guys saw value in this. Again, if you are ready to take your investments to the next level, tap in with the homies over at Circa 84. You get this in at least 72 hours early. You'll get access to direct questions. We get into the weeds in there. I am in there checking that Discord, even though it's a very quiet Discord. It is. I'm checking that Discord regularly just to see if anyone has any actual questions. I've got a little bit of alpha pinned up. I'm going to be adding more alpha in there as I see things that are useful. And yeah, we're gonna be adding. I think we're gonna keep the trending news. Like, let me know if you guys saw some value in just me skimming over. Like, that's not direct links, like not direct articles. It's just what's trending in the internet. I'm figuring some stuff out that's more useful for the show to add a lot more value. And I think that that's interesting to be able to look at that, to see what's trending as of the Sunday that I'm recording this, what's going on in the markets, what's happening, and kind of give you an idea on what's going to be talked about, where the news is heading, what you're going to see your favorite content creators speaking on, and to have a heads up, because there's a lot of information that's coming at you, and I like to have a balanced information. Like, we just talk about what we did. Like, when you have the dips, I seek out the worst performing coins in my portfolio for the most part, if I haven't hit my targets on them, and I buy into those. So we'll see how this turns around this week, because one of two things is going to happen. And obviously you'll see that this is going to sound real basic, but either we're going to bounce back to where we were, or we're going to have some, actually I'd say three. We're going to bounce back to where we were. We're going to continue to run into some sell-off up through the halving, in which case we could be going lower, or there's a good probability that we do some weird sideways, really tight neck, because as people are selling off their position, BlackRock and the other institutions and the ETFs are buying up those positions and moving along that way. We're going to get to see. It's going to be interesting. So there's three options. Either we go up, go down, go back to where we were, go down, or we do some weird sideways where people are still selling off and the institutions are buying those positions up because it's during an open trading week. And they're gonna keep the market propped up until people realize that they're just selling off to get into a worse position if they're planning on coming back. Because it's good. It would be. I don't believe that the people that are selling off right now are going to be leaving Bitcoin. I see people all the time. Like, I've had conversations with people where they're like, "Oh, I'm coming back at 30." I'm like, "We're never seeing 30 again." It's not barring a black swan event, which you can't plan around, or you shouldn't be planning around. Barring a black swan event, we're not going back to 30. We're not. Like, it's not happening. 30 is over. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got on as much as you could at 30, because now we're looking at 60, 50, maybe 60. I don't even think we touched 60 this time. Granted, I did stop looking. But as this market progresses forward with the energy and the money that's actually flowing into the market, if you do the numbers, like, it's just not mathematically possible unless, like, everybody, including the institution, started selling to get us back down to 30. Like, that just doesn't mathematically make sense unless something atrocious happens and the rest of the world start selling off their Bitcoin. But we'll see. We will see. It's going to be an exciting week, and I hope you guys are ready for it. Until next week, this has been Crypto Portfolios. This is your boy, Reckless Ray Dinero. And until next time, we are out. Peace.
Cryptocurrency, currency. She love cryptocurrency. Me have a hot sexy girl. Whoa. Girl just a tip jar. She whine and go down and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She no want the cash, she want the crypto. Me have a hot sexy girl just a tip jar. She whine and come up and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She no want the cash, she want the crypto. Decentralized like a blockchain. Anyway you see me, girl, you know it not go stop rain. Pull up in the Beamer or the Benz or the Bentley. Cryptocurrency, that's what we spending. We not in a lending. No for them a stake, yo. We not in a renting. Bad mind fussy them. Once see we ending. Grinding out with face, but call that pretending. Now left me 9 milli. Girl, so we trending. Me have a hot sexy girl, just a tip jar. She whine and go down and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She no want the cash, she want the crypto. Me have a hot sexy girl, just a tip jar. She whine and come up and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She no want the cash, she want the crypto. She love cryptocurrency, cryptocurrency. She love cryptocurrency. She love cryptocurrency. MetaMask wallet. Cryptocurrency, currency, cryptocurrency, currency, cryptocurrency, currency, Coinbase wallet, stack it up. Me have a hot sexy girl, just a tip jar. She whine and go down and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She don't want the cash, she want the crypto. Me have a hot sexy girl, just a tip jar. She whine and come up and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She don't want the cash, she want the crypto. She love all me DeFi. And something makes you feel high. Digital currency, I wish you need. Inflation make the dollar